We will defend Canadian jobs. We will take measures to prevent predatory behavior that threatens Canadian companies because of the impacts of this trade war, leaving them open to takeovers. We will relentlessly fight to protect our economy. We will stand up for Canadians every single second of every single day because this country is worth fighting for. Les derniers mois ont été stressants et honnêtement épuisants.
All right, while the Prime Minister is speaking in French, I want to bring in CNN's Paula Newton. She's joining us from Ottawa, CNN White House reporter Elena Treen. Paula, I've covered U.S.-Canadian relations for many, many years. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, right on the border with Canada. Our family used to go to Canada, to Ontario, Crystal Beach. Every summer we had a home there, so I spent a lot of time growing up effectively in Canada. I have never seen this U.S.-Canadian relationship deteriorate as seriously as it has right now. The Prime Minister of Canada saying the U.S. has declared a trade war against Canada. Have you ever seen this U.S.-Canadian relationship as bad as it is right now?
Hey folks, Donald Trump Jr. here with urgent news. The world's central
effectively in Canada. I have never seen this U.S.-Canadian relationship deteriorate as seriously as it has right now. The Prime Minister of Canada saying the U.S. has declared a trade war against Canada. Have you ever seen this U.S.-Canadian relationship as bad as it is right now?
Absolutely not, Wolf. And I echo, your thoughts. In my entire lifetime, Wolf, in terms of what you speak and that very close friendship between Americans and Canadians, I have never seen anti-Americanism reach this height in my entire lifetime. And I want to note, Wolf, that was the Prime Minister, the man who will not be Prime Minister much longer, probably a matter of days. And it was really Justin Trudeau unplugged, saying that he could speak to the American people themselves in a blunt, forceful way, because he doesn't have anything to lose now politically. And I do note that he basically said, Donald, addressing him directly, you are a smart man, but echoing the words of the Wall Street Journal, this is a dumb thing to do. He also made it clear, though, to Canadians, Wolf, that, look, he's not going to sugarcoat it, and this will be tough. Wolf, what's interesting here is that so many people across Canada are echoing what the Prime Minister has said. We have had leaders of provinces say that they're actually breaking up with America. And make no mistake here, Wolf, this will hurt Canadians. This will really bite, but it will also hurt many Americans as well. In terms of what happens going forward, Wolf, this is escalation, and Justin Trudeau is putting the United States on notice that there will be escalation. Key, though, he did speak to those strategic industries. When we talk about critical minerals, we've heard so much about how many Ukraine has. Canada arguably has some of the largest deposits of critical minerals in the world. They were willing to certainly open themselves up to even American companies that wanted to come in and try and exploit that and try and clear some of the regulatory hurdles. It's clear the Trump administration was not interested. Well, if this is a decoupling, not just from Canada, but certainly many, many Western allies, and Europe right now, who've also been put on notice about tariffs in April, are taking note. What happens next? We continue to see the fallout. We do hear that more measures, including what we've discussed weeks ago about things like U.S. alcohol coming right off the shelves in Canada. That's just one example of something that will hit Republican states like Kentucky that will not be able to sell much of their bourbon into Canada at all. But there is so much more here at stake. Key is energy, both oil, but also natural gas and also electricity. And Canada on the table right now has a threat of putting an export tariff on that, which will instantly make
Paula,
energy
hold on for a
much more
moment, because the
expensive
Prime
for
Minister
Americans.
has started taking some questions from reporters. He's speaking about Vice President Pence right now. Vice President Vance right now. I want to listen.
Show very clearly that in terms of taking action on fentanyl, we are doing everything that is necessary, and not just for the United States, for ourselves as well, as Canadians are suffering as well under
border was from Canada. Elaine, for these tariffs is.
The United
So we were
States has
just
announced
hearing
it's
there,
suspending
he's taking
aid for
questions,
Ukraine.
the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada, and saying that basically this idea that the reason for these tariffs is because of fentanyl is a false pretext. And he talks about all the things that Canada has done to crack down, and that less than 1% of fentanyl that was seized at the U.S. border was from Canada. Elena, it struck me, you're at the White House, and I'm wondering, he talked about how he hasn't talked to Trump yet. He hopes to. He tried to appeal to him directly, saying Donald. And he said, you know, you're a smart man, but this is dumb, saying that he agreed with the Wall Street Journal. Is there any reaction from the White House, Elena?
From the moments that we've heard him say that, not yet that I've heard, Paula. But look, this is something, or Pamela, excuse me, this is something that I think is definitely going to receive a reaction from the president and the White House. This is some of the strongest language we have heard yet from the prime minister. A couple of things that really stuck out to me from what he has said. He said that they have stepped up, that they have been engaging repeatedly in conversations as recently in the last couple of days with the Trump administration, that they are doing everything that they can. As you mentioned, I think the point where he was addressing Donald, he was addressing the president directly by name, using that harsh language, going on to say, you know, we've worked together, we've had a relationship for several years, we've done big things together, we should be working together now. All things that we have heard, you know, him say and maybe more nicer or friendlier terms before, but now you're hearing a very direct, harsh language from the prime minister. Look, I mean, from what the president said yesterday and what has been kind of clear is he said yesterday that he doesn't believe there's any more room to negotiate when it comes to what Canada and Mexico are doing. He has said very clearly that he believes they aren't doing enough on fentanyl. You heard the prime minister argue that he doesn't believe that's actually what these tariffs are about. And then today you've heard a lot of Donald